I wanted to create a drag and drop interaction with Storyline, but I wasn't very happy with the default settings. It wasn't giving me the right feedback, and it didn't behave the way I wanted it to. So what I did was I went in Godot, created an interaction, and imported it into Storyline. And that's what this video is about: is how easy it is to import interactions that you create with Godot and use them in Storyline, and also how to use this interaction I created, because I'll be providing the project files for you to use and manipulate and change however you want to. So this is kind of a quick visual of how it behaves. So when you drag an item or you hover over it, it responds, gives you that visual feedback that you're over it. And when you move it, it turns a little bit so it looks like you're picking it up, and it bounces right back to the original spot. And when you place this over an incorrect item, it shakes and gives you an audio feedback of an error. And when you place it over the correct item, it also gives you audio feedback with a little visual that, hey, you got the right items. So and you can do this over each item, and it also displays each item one at a time, and only when you and it only shows the next item when you place it correctly on the correct target. And when you're done, you can just click on restart, and it restarts the whole thing here. So to begin, you need to go to download Godot if you haven't downloaded it yet, and it'll be at godotengine.org. And right now it's up to 4.61 version, which should work with the project that I have. I used 4.51. You can download this right here, or if you want to download the exact version I have, you go previous version there, and then click on 4.451 stable, and click download, and it will automatically download for you. But again, the 4.61 should work just as well, because it's not really a complicated coding or scripting or anything like that. Next, what you want to go do is download the project over at GitHub, and I'll be providing the link below. Go to code and download the zip. And once you've downloaded that, you want to extract it, which I already did right here. So drag and drop, and then extract it, and that's all you really need to do with that file. So when you have Godot open, open Godot, and you don't have to install it, which is great. It's just an executable file. You open it like any other program or application. No complicated installation, anything you have to do with this. So I've already downloaded this one right here. Actually, I'm going to go ahead and remove this so I can add it back. So when you open the Godot for the first time, this will probably be all empty. I've done several different projects here, and so I've been working on it for quite a while now. What you want to do for the first time is click on import, and then go to your downloads, wherever you downloaded it. Click on your drag and drop folder that you've extracted, and what you want to do is click into the folders that have the project.godot file, which is basically the main folder. So this is the extracted folder, and here's the contents within that within that folder there. So you want to select that current folder, and if you have the edit now option, it will automatically open it when you import it. So what I'm going to do is I'm going to take that off now and click on import, so that way you can see that it's already it's right here. It's ready to be edited and ran. So I'm going to click on edit, so that way it opens it up. All right, so we don't need these because we don't have the folders anymore. I reset it some things, so we don't have to worry about that. Actually, let me restart this real quick. All right, so I reset it right now. I just basically re-unzipped it and re-imported a fresh file, because I did when I did some testing, I manipulated some stuff, and I just want to start from scratch, same way that you'll be setting or using the folder file when you start it. So With the one of the things you might want to do first is change the display settings. The display settings is how basically how it will look on your screen, and you want this to match how you or where you want to put this. With Storyline, let me adjust this real quick. All right. So with Storyline, the slide size, whatever slide size you want. If you want the interaction to fit the entire slide, all you have to go to is click on your design, slide size, and it gives you the width and height of your slide right there. I have 1920 by 1080, so that's what I'll be using. But if you want to only show, or you only want the interaction to show in a certain area, the easiest way to do it is click on like shape and kind of, okay, so this is where you want it to be, or you want it to be, you know, thinner to off to the side because you want some text here that, you know, you want to animate in. So for whatever reason, you know, you have a different size there, so you can create the size you want, go to format, and then this is the size you want to show, 1035 by 763. Now it doesn't exactly have to be these settings, but it has to be a ratio of that setting to display correctly. So now that you got the settings you want, now I want 1920 by 1080. So sorry, let's go quickly go back. All right, so you want to click on project settings, and then on the left here you click on window, and I want to change 1920 by 1080. That's the only change you want, because when it scales, it's going to scale proportionally, all the items. So like when on the mode here, canvas items, everything's going to stretch proportionally. So that's all you need to do right now. If you want to change any of the other settings, I would look it up on other tutorials, because right now we're just going to be focusing on how to change the settings on this project so you can use it in any of your projects that you want to import into. So now that's 1920 by 1080. We're going to close this. Now it didn't show this immediately, but if I sort this out or hide everything on here, you can see that I had to zoom out a little bit. There's a little blue line here. That is your screen size right here. Anything outside that box will not be displayed. So this is your screen size here. So when I enable this back, you'll see the size changed a little bit, except for color rectangle, because it's anchored. You see these little green dots here. It's anchored. I can change this real quick here. It's anchored to the corner. So if the display size change, if the display size settings change, the entire box will change as well. And I can change this back to make sure that it fits everything by clicking on the anchor preset full rectangle here. So the only thing I need to change are these things here. I'm going to hide the challenges and solutions. You can add images or text later on if to show whatever you want later on. And I'm going to move the reset button over here so it's on the top right corner, and the audio success, I'm going to put this down here, and then it doesn't really matter where you display it, and I don't know if it will play if it's moved off the board, but I'll try to test that out later. And if you want to change this out, the sound, the way it plays, either success or fail, import your audio, just drag and drop it into this folder here, or really anywhere, it doesn't matter. Once you have the files in here, you can click on audio fail or audio success and drag and drop it over this area where it says stream. So if you click on that little button that had the little return icon there, it will undo it, and you can just click on drag and drop your audio file there, and same thing with the success, and whatever new folders you want in there, or new sounds you want in there, you can play that. Okay, so your drop targets and your draggable items are into two groups here, and your drop targets are there's a little container box basically, but this one's small. The draggable items is enlarged, and we will hide that for now because it kind of gets in the way when I try to click on the targets down here. You can see that it highlights the draggable item, so I'm going to hide that so that way I can click on this and it not be an issue for me. So I can move these around. Now these are texture rectangle nodes, and the size is kind of dictated by the size of the image. So if these images are about 300 by 128, so this is the way it's going to show up. And if the image, the actual image size, the resolution was like 500 by 200, it would move up to that size. You can scale it up, and with the drop targets, you can scale them up, but you can't shrink them below the size that they are. But the draggable items, I would not recommend scaling them, and I'll tell you that later why. But let's go ahead and stick with the targets here. So for targets, we're going to change the way they look. So these are 300 by 127. So I'm going to open up PowerPoint. And I've kind of already created some sizes here. This slideshow designed slide size, it's 16 by 9, but it's a very large size too. So this isn't like a 1920 by 1080. Let me see if I can change that to 1920 by 1080 px, because inches don't like, it's probably like twice the size of 1920 by 1080. So it looks like it's the same size, but it's you'll see that it's a lot larger when I show this on the screen. But I'm gonna change the shape format for this. So that was 300, I think it was, px by, oh wait, that's height. I went to 200, px by 300 px. That's pixels. All right, same thing with these. I'm gonna select both of these. Sorry about that. 200 px by 300 px. All right. So now that I've got these here, I'm going to export them as a picture, and I'm going to export them in the images folder in the drag and drop interaction folder right here. So if you go to the main, you'll see the images, and it's just you can really put them anywhere you want. I just like to keep my stuff organized. So I'm gonna put save this picture 9, and I already saved some, so that's why it's stated at saving as picture 9 instead of 1. So it's starting from the last set that I was testing out. So here's picture 11. Okay, so when you go back to Godot, you'll see that it's scanning or scanning and uploading, automatically loading those images. So here's picture 9, and I'm going to replace the texture up here. All right, so there it is, and you can see how much larger that is, and it doesn't show that when we're doing PowerPoint. So what we can do is make this a little bit smaller. Let's go with 1 inch or 0.75 by 1.5. Actually, yeah, that's 1.5 by, was it 1. What did I put this one at? 75. Okay, 0.75 by 1.5, and there we go. But this one we're gonna leave kind of this way because I'm gonna show you how to scale it down if you need to scale it down. So I'm going to export it again, and this one was picture 9, I believe. Okay, so yes, replace it. And picture 11, oh no, 10. Save that. All right, and these should automatically scale correctly. So I'm gonna redo this right here because it scaled only it looks like vertically. So picture 9, and then I'm gonna again drag it over to texture, and it looks like it's scaled that way. Okay, so I'm gonna scale it down. All right, so and it won't scale down this way. I'm not sure why. Let me see. Let's go with let me redo this here. Let me scale this down without the image. All right, and it scales proportionally. Why does it? Let me see. Keep size, scale. Let me see, scale. All right, I figured out what was going on, why it wouldn't shrink, because when PowerPoint exported it, it also exported some extra space, the top and bottom. I did fix it by going back to PowerPoint, and I'll show this right here. I actually have to shrink the letters there, because for some reason, like, it also exports outside a large, I don't know why that happened, a large amount of space. So I'm going to press B, and then I'm going to shrink that, and hopefully that will work. So I'm going to go to save as picture and change this one over to the new version. Okay, so now I'm going to go back to Godot. So now that this is kind of a little bit better fixed, you want to keep the that box the same kind of same shape, because if it was like this, then they can just drop it over the empty areas. It would register as a successful drop. So you want to keep it as tight as you can, or depending on your interaction, you might want a little bit more space, a little bit less space, depending on how accurate you want them to drop the targets over. So now that I've done that, you can change the images that way. And I'm going to show you a little bit also. So don't have to worry about this little symbol here. All it is showing that it has a signal going out. Basically, when it's being dropped over, it sends a signal that it was either successful or not successful, and then it plays a sound. The script here, this is an attached script to the to each of these nodes. Now these are the same scripts here, so I can type in a comment here, and when I save it, it will show up on each of them because they're all sharing the same script. So any change you made here will affect all these targets, and there's nothing to change here at all. These targets are basically, you just create new targets by duplicating them, and that's it really. There's nothing else to change with it other than make sure that the target here is the right size. So we're gonna go and change this one as well, and I'm gonna go drag the new image to picture 10, and there we go. See how it's a perfect fit there because I changed the size of it. Now with this one, we're gonna do something a little bit different, because what happens if you have an image that you can't really resize, and you don't have the tools to resize it. Somebody, client gave it to you, and you just need to change the settings because it was either really large or really small. So there are different ways you can do that, and we are going to I'm going to undo this image here, and what we are going to do is picture 11 here. We're going to drag it onto here, onto the screen, and you want to locate it. Right now it went into the drop targets, which is what we want, and we want to change the offset. As you can see, actually, we want to, well, this isn't going to matter too much because it's not going to register the image, it's going to register the drop target here. So what we want to do is change the offset, the origin of the image, to the corner up here. So what I'm going to do is click on offset. I'm going to disable centered. As you can see, it moves real quickly there. And for the target, I kind of want it to be the same size as the shape. Well, actually, I want it to be the same size as these right here. So let me move over here. Actually, I can just change the size 502 by 255. Let me get rid of that. Transform 502. Oops. 502 by 255. All right. And then this one right here, I'm going to scale. This one you can scale like all the way down, and it's not the same perspective or ratio. So, but that's fine. This is just to test it out. So I'm going to make sure it's about the same size. And what I'm going to do now, since the target's up there, I'm going to make this into a child of the target 3. So it's all the way up there, and the easiest way to kind of center or move this under the target is to go to transform and reset the position to 0. Basically, what you need to do is just click on here and it changes to 0. And as you can see, it basically moved it right over that. So now one thing that's a little tricky is selecting the correct node, because when you select it, it selects from the bottom up. So whatever's in front or below here, even if it's invisible like this draggable item here or draggable items container, you will always select that, and it kind of gets in the way. And so what I'm going to do is I'm going to select the target, and I'm going to change the tool to the move mode from here to here, and then I'm going to just move this over here. Now again, we're going to do that again. I'm going to click on this real quick, actually click here, copy Velcro this and change this to D, just so we can show you how easy it is to create new draggable items. Save as picture. Picture 17 is fine. We're not going to be picky about the names now. So picture 17 is right there. So I'm going to Control D or right click and duplicate. And then all I need to do is select a picture. I still have the move tool, so I'm going to move this upwards this way. And actually, no, I want to select the target, not the picture. Select that, move that up there, and then select a picture and drag picture 17 over to the new texture, so that way it's over that size. Now this is bigger than the picture is, and if we try to scale this down, well, it's actually going to work fine, but the picture is scaled down, so we need to change that to the original scale. And same thing with target. We're going to change that to the right settings and match it. So now we got 4 targets, and we didn't really have to do any more coding. We don't have to do anything else complicated with signals or all the other programming stuff. We just duplicated it and changed the images and changed the sizes. All right, so now that that is done, let's move over to the draggable items. So with draggable items, same thing. I've got 2 different sets of draggable items, like nodes. You've got your control node, which is a unique item called draggable item, but it's really just a texture rectangle, just like these were. And also have one with 2D image. They do they work the same, but they are different. Let me move this down. Actually, let me move that back up underneath there. And you want all your draggable items in the draggable items container. So that way, because when the code here, I'll click on sort activities and click on the code. What this does is automatically hides all these items here, but except for the first item. So it'll show up like this. And then when the user successfully drags that item over to the correct box, the next one will appear, and then when they do that, the next one will appear, the next one will appear. That's what the code does. And to change the targets, we'll go that later on. It's really easy, but let's go ahead and work the pictures first. So we've got, let's just do 3 of the green ones, and then we're going to add 2 more of the blue ones. All right, so with this one right here, let's go to PowerPoint again, A, B, C, D, and I think it was like 3 and 3. So let's delete this one and delete this one. All right, so we're gonna save these as pictures. Save as pictures. Okay. Now, again, the issue might be with the size of it as well, so we might have to adjust some of these. And let's go back to Godot. It automatically imports everything. We can just do a real quick test. Yeah, it is going to be large, so we will probably have to change the settings or size of these a little bit. And these, I do not recommend changing the size of it. Let me show you real quick. Well, depends on what you use. For if you do the items here and you change it, the texture size, and you want to try to actually, let's remove or hide all the other ones except for the one we're going to be working on. So if you want to try to change the size, and if you go to like 0.5 here, well, with the code, it automatically changes it back to the original scale. So I'll show you real quick. So it's 0.5 right now, and because of the order of this, everything else was shown first or hidden. So let's go back here, item 5. And so it's 0.5 right now. As soon as I mouse over, it increases the size and then goes back to the original 1.0. So you don't want to adjust this right here. To adjust this, you can do it with the original. Actually, let me make sure that it's picture 18. So picture 18, oops. Okay, item, texture empty. Okay, so picture 18. And what you want to do is make sure that these are probably like the half of what they are supposed to be. 0.5. Okay, so, and this is the only one we're going to scale down. So the other ones we'll do a different way. So I got to actually export this, save as. And this one was 18, I believe, or was it 17? Let me see, this one's 18. Okay, 18. So 18, save, yes, and it automatically update here. Now this is scaled up because it keeps the same size, but you can scale it down and it's the original size. And again, we have that issue with, because of the font is kind of a little bit big, it adds extra space at the bottom. And now we have kind of the good size. We can just drop these in here, no issues. They're draggable. Now, now that is done, you can see how easy it is to change the textures. And we will go to this one here and do it a different way. So this one's right here. So we're going to remove that, and kind of the same thing we did with the targets. We can drag this item here and then make it a child of this item here. Let's hide that. Keep it on. So here's picture 19. We can change it to the same size as this, which is about 172, 185. So transform this to, well, it is, we have to do this visually because you can't set the size of the setting. You have to actually change the scale of it. So 0.36, which is pretty good. So item 4 is let me see, layout, transform, what was it 0.172 by 178, or 172 by 178. So it's about right there. And then again, change the offset to this from center to off, and make this a child of this, and then reset the position, and it should be over it. As you can see, that little change. All right, so that's good right there. And this one, actually, we'll just delete this and control duplicate that one and replace the picture 20. And what we can do is just drag this over here to texture, and it will automatically update to new letter, but it doesn't update the name, and that's fine. You can keep it that way, but I just want to do it for tracking purposes. So we got that, and let's see, we can drag this over. Okay, we got that. All right, so now we got 3 items for the texture nodes. Now over here with these will be a little bit simpler. Again, I'm gonna try to grab the item 6, but I'm gonna use the move tool to move it around. That way I can see it better. And go back to the pointer tool. Now all you need to do is basically replace the texture on the image node. So go to picture 21, change that, and then you can scale this no problem, because you're scaling the child node, not the parent node. When you mouse over during the interaction, when you mouse over, it will change the scale change the scale back to the parent node, but not the child nodes. So the child nodes are going to be whatever scale the items or the parent node is. So you can change this to 0.25 like this, and it will still be the same way. The only thing we need to change is the collision shape. Now the collision shape detects the mouse movement. When it goes over, it detects, hey, there's a mouse over me, and it executes whatever code there is. And we'll go a little bit over the code on that. It's a little bit more complicated than the other shapes, but again, you don't need to change anything to that. So what we want to do is change the collision shape over to the same size as this, and that's basically it. Now, actually, we should probably make this a little bit smaller to match the other ones. Same thing with here, and now you've got the collision shape. Now, the issue here is because we've got a square collision shape over a round object. If a user clicks here, it will detect it, and they can drag it from here. It will automatically snap. The center of it will automatically snap to the mouse, so it won't be really visible, but I'll show you real quick. And it happens with the other ones as well. You see how it clicks on the corner and it increases the size, but it automatically snaps to the center. So if that's important to you, that's something that you might want to keep in mind. So what we can do with this right here, we can change this from a rectangle to a circle shape, and you can see the little red button here, or the little red dot. That's the handle to change the size of the circular shape. So we just make sure it matches the size you want, and that's all you have to do with that. So I'm going to move this to the top, so that way it's the first item to be seen, and now it works fine. Now you can see it's a little bit off-centered because the parent node, the top item here, is off-centered as well. So you want to make sure that it's centered as you can get, which I think there is an easy way to do that. So if you go click here, the position's 1082 by 174. So you see it's up here and not down here. So with these right here, you can actually just click the reset button, and it will center onto the parent node. So now that when we play this, it goes from the center as well, as you can see right there. So now we can do the same thing with these. Let's move this over, and as you can see, the shape kind of change. It's an explanation to that. I'll quickly show this right here. So when you duplicate it, some items will be linked. So with collision shapes, you create a twin of it, and what you do to one affects the other. So if I change the shape to this, you can see it changes well, and it's changing from the center. But one way to get around that, if you have like multiple different shapes and you just did duplicates, you can either reset and then create a new one, rectangle shape, and this goes with circles as well, or you can go click here and then make unique, and then when you move this, move that back. So when you change the shape to this, it's unique to this node here, or this collision shape here, and it doesn't share any properties with these other ones here. But again, we are going to change these. I think it was what's the scale, 0.408, and we will be doing the same thing, 0.408. Oh, let me see. Okay. Oops. 0.408. All right, and same thing here. We're gonna change this to circle shape, and I think it was like about that size. But we're going to change the position, make sure that it's centered to the parent node, and then this goes a little bit higher. And then same thing with this here. Picture 3. 0.408, and then center it, and this collision shape we will change to circle and increase the size and also center it. All right, so we've got all these shapes here, and I'm going to keep them kind of in this order. That way we can see them. For this other demonstration, I'm going to show you real quick. So with this one, it has its own script. It has a lot of different things, a lot of functions that it does. You don't need to change anything on here. One thing you might want to change, depending on how you want to create the interaction, is that you go to sort and activity and go to that script here. You're looking for right here where it says line 23, drag item visibility. If you want to show each item one at a time, then you don't want to change anything. If you want to show all items at the same time, you can just put a comment on here that will null it out. It doesn't do anything for it. And then if I'll show you real quick, if I press play, you can see all the targets here, and they're all draggable. And you can click restart, everything shows again. But if you enable that function, it shows one at a time. All right, so now that we've got the targets set up, how do we add the targets to that? It's really, really simple. So if you click on any of these items, and they're all the kind of the same thing, they do share this. The 2D items, the 2D nodes here, the blue ones, they share a different script than the ones that are green, but they're basically the same thing. So if you click on the item over here, if you scroll all the way to the top, you'll see a drop targets here. Now I'm going to erase this one. You can change the size. So this one is this right here. So it's a D. And we want to do is click add element. And we want to assign the D target. So which is target 04. And oops. What you want to do is click and hold it. And then drag it over to the target. So now that one is the target here. So, and you can add multiple targets for this. The way I set it up, you can add multiple targets, drop targets. So if you want to add more than one, you could click on add element or increase the size here. And let's say for the D's, you want it to, they can drop on any of the targets. So you could click on A or 1, 2, and 3. Now there's no weight to these. There's no scoring in this interaction. I'll want to try to add that later on. So now D's, for the draggable D items, they can drag them to any of these items here, and it will be considered successful. So for 6, that one's A. We want that one to be just target 1, and you can just drag and drop over a current one, an existing one, and it will replace it. So 4 is B. That one's 2. Oops, this one replaced this one, so or added to it. If you drag it here, it'll replace it. If you drag it over the top on here, it will add a new one. So we can show you real quick. So it just added 2 of target 2. So 4, 5, or I'm sorry, 9 is C. So that one's 3. Actually, let's open this up and replace this one. And 7 is A, so open this one. That one's already target 1, and then 8 is D again. So we want to add 4. So that one's 2, or already has 1, so 2, 3, and 4, and that's all we need to do. So if you go back and test it out, so all the A's should be over A, B's over B's, D's should be any one. So I'm going to add drag. There we go. And then incorrect, 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 and there you go. And there you go. All right, and then they've completed it. So so it's really easy to if you do the coding right, if you do the scripts correctly, you can make it very modular, very easy to expand on. And make some changes to it. I mean, it's all Godot is very, very handy to create modular interactions that you don't have to run through a bunch of scripts, a bunch of coding to have to reuse it for different exercise or different interactions. So if you have any questions, please let me know. Oh, wait. actually, we're not done yet. I forgot to export it and test it out. So we already changed the project settings, the size. So what we need to do is just export it. So when we export it, it should already be on. You should already have a preset called Web Runnables. If you don't, click on Add and add Web. You could add these other ones here, and it'll create an executable of a Windows application version of it. Same thing with iOS and Android, but you'd have to have a capability to upload a mobile applications. So click on Web and just click on Export Project. It does need to have the index HTML, like it needs to be named index.html for in order for Storyline to pick it up. So I already have one in there. So yours might default to a name, the same name as the project name. So just change this to index.html and just click Save. Mine's asking me to overwrite, so click OK. And it's a real quick export. No confirmation message when it's done. So just click Close. And for your Storyline, let's delete this. You want to insert the web object, navigate to the folder, HTML export. I already have that there. Select the folder. Nothing shows up, but you just select the folder where the index.html file is and click OK. It should be over this entire image, but it does sometimes, like, I'm just gonna leave it at default. It's fine, or there. But you can increase the size of it. Yeah, I don't know why it. If there's a reason for it, there might be, because it might not detect items outside the screen area. So there we go. And I'm going to publish this. And I'm seeing. Publish a new version of that, because again I created some tests. So and here we go. Here is the interaction we just created. Now I'm not sure if you caught that, but there is going to be, depending on how much items you have on there, there's going to be a slight load screen, but it should be pretty quick. So now we've got all of this right here. There we go. And just testing to make sure everything's working as it should. And there we go. And they can just restart and then restart this whole thing again. There is a way to like send a signal to Storyline to say, hey, this is successful, and like disable this right here. I'll try to add that later on in the when I keep expanding on this interaction. You know, little signals, and also there you can add a little you know, congratulations, you completed the exercise kind of screen. I would advise you to look up especially of UI tutorials and control or scripting, programming, things like that. Signals would be good, but this is just kind of a quick test to show you how easy it is to incorporate Godot into Storyline, and how beneficial and useful Godot is when creating interactions.